the fluorescent lights of the hospital. Administrative office buzzed. Overhead as Marcus Johnson sat in the hard plastic chair, his calloused hands gripping a worn manila folder containing his application. At 34, his face carried lines that spoke of sleepless nights and worries too heavy for a man his age. His daughter Emma's laughter echoed in his mind, that beautiful, innocent sound that made every sacrifice worthwhile. She was only 7, but she'd already taught him more about strength than any of his years as a former paramedic ever had. The job posting had been simple: janitor position, night shift, St. Catherine's Memorial Hospital. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work with benefits. And benefits meant Emma could finally see a specialist about the tremors that had started in her hands 6 months ago. Marcus had been a paramedic once, running toward emergencies while others ran away, but those days felt like another lifetime. Now he just needed steady work, something that would keep the lights on and put food on the table while he navigated single parenthood. "Mr. Johnson?" A woman in her 50s emerged from an office, her navy blazer pristine and her expression professionally neutral. "I'm Patricia Hendricks, Human Resources Director. Please come in." Marcus followed her into a modest office, decorated with motivational posters and framed certifications. He'd rehearsed his talking points 100 times in the bathroom mirror that morning, trying to find the right words to explain the 2-year gap in his employment history without sounding like he was making excuses. "I see here you were a certified paramedic," Patricia said, scanning his application with sharp eyes behind reading glasses. "That's quite a career change." "Yes, ma'am," Marcus replied, keeping his voice steady. "Life circumstances changed. I have a daughter, Emma. She's 7. After my wife passed, I needed something with more predictable hours, something where I could be there for school pickups and bedtimes." Patricia nodded, her expression softening imperceptibly. "I'm sorry for your loss. Being a single parent can't be easy." "It's the most important job I'll ever have," Marcus said simply. There was no artifice in his words, just truth worn smooth by repetition and belief. The interview proceeded routinely, questions about reliability, experience with cleaning equipment, willingness to work holidays. Marcus answered everything honestly, perhaps too honestly. He mentioned Emma's medical needs, his lack of family support, the mounting bills that kept him awake at 3 a.m., doing mental arithmetic that never quite added up. But he also spoke about his work ethic, his attention to detail, how his medical background meant he understood the critical importance of sanitation in a healthcare setting. Patricia was writing notes when something slipped from Marcus's folder, a hospital bracelet, the plastic kind they give you in emergency rooms. It landed on her desk with barely a sound, but the effect was electric. Patricia's pen stopped mid-stroke, her eyes fixed on the bracelet, specifically on the identification number printed in black, A3497. The blood drained from her face. "Where did you get this?" Her voice was barely above a whisper, trembling in a way that professional composure couldn't quite hide. Marcus reached for the bracelet apologetically. "I'm sorry, it must have gotten mixed up with my papers. It's from a few weeks ago. My daughter had a seizure at school, and they brought us here to the ER. I kept it because—" He paused, a father's vulnerability showing through. "I keep them all." A reminder that we made it through another scare. "A3497, Patricia repeated, her hand moving to her mouth. "May 27th. "You were here May 27th? "Yes, late afternoon." It was terrifying. Emma had never had a seizure before, and they needed to run all these tests. "We were here for hours." Marcus's brow furrowed at Patricia's reaction. "Is something wrong?" Patricia stood abruptly, her chair rolling backward. "Excuse me for just one moment." She left the office, leaving Marcus alone, with his confusion and a growing sense that this interview had taken an inexplicable turn. 5 minutes passed. 10. Marcus checked his phone nervously. He needed to pick Emma up from his neighbor's house by 4. He was considering leaving when Patricia returned, accompanied by a doctor in scrubs, his surgical cap still on, eyes red-rimmed with exhaustion or emotion or both. "This is Dr. James Reeves," Patricia said, her voice thick. "Jim, this is Marcus Johnson." The doctor extended his hand, gripping Marcus's with unexpected intensity. "Mr. Johnson, were you in the emergency room on May 27th around 5 p.m.? Bay 7? Yes, with my daughter Emma, but I don't understand." "You gave blood that day," Dr. Reeves stated. It wasn't a question. Marcus nodded slowly. "The nurses said they were running low on O negative, and I'm a universal donor. My daughter was stable, just waiting for test results, so I figured why not." It took maybe 15 minutes. Dr. Reeves's eyes closed for a long moment. When he opened them, they were glistening. "My son was in surgery that day. Emergency splenectomy after a car accident. He's 16. The blood bank was critically low, and we needed O negative immediately. The donation that came up right when we needed it, that was yours." The words hung in the air like a held breath. "Your blood saved my son's life," Dr. Reeves continued, his professional composure cracking. "We didn't know where it came from, just that it arrived exactly when we needed it. 30 seconds later and we might have lost him." Marcus sat down heavily. The weight of coincidence, or fate, too much to process standing. "I had no idea. They just said it was needed urgently." Patricia wiped her eyes, not bothering to hide her tears anymore. A3497 Jim has been looking for that identification number for months. He wanted to thank whoever it was, but privacy laws made it impossible to track down. "I was sitting in that waiting room, watching my daughter sleep after her seizure, feeling completely helpless," Marcus said quietly. "When they asked if I could donate, it felt like the only useful thing I could do. I wasn't even thinking about it." "You were terrified for your own child," Dr. Reeves said, his voice breaking. "And you still thought about helping someone else's." The three of them stood in that small office, connected by threads of circumstance and compassion that defied explanation. Patricia broke the silence first. "Mr. Johnson, that janitor position has already been filled," she said, and Marcus's heart sank for just a moment before she continued. "But we have an opening in our emergency response team. It's a patient advocate and support coordinator position. You'd help families navigate the ER experience, provide emotional support, assist with logistics. Your medical background and your obvious empathy make you uniquely qualified. It pays considerably more than the janitorial position," Dr. Reeves added, "and it comes with comprehensive health benefits that would cover specialists for Emma." Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Patricia said with a smile that transformed her entire face. "Say you'll take the job and let us finally repay a debt we've been carrying for months." "But I just applied to clean floors," Marcus protested weakly. "And you'll end up healing hearts instead," Dr. Reeves said, "including ours by letting us do this." 2 weeks later, Marcus started his new position, wearing scrubs with his name embroidered on the pocket. Emma's tremors, it turned out, were caused by a vitamin deficiency easily corrected with supplements, a diagnosis made possible by the specialist appointments his new insurance covered. On his first day, he helped a frightened father whose son had broken his arm, sitting with him during surgery, offering the kind of understanding only another parent could provide. That evening, Marcus came home to find Emma at the kitchen table, her hands steady as she colored a picture of a hospital. At the top, in her careful 7-year-old handwriting, She'd written, "My daddy the hero." Marcus tucked the drawing into his folder. Next to the hospital bracelet marked A3497, both reminders that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness ripple outward in ways we can never predict. That compassion given freely returns tenfold, and that being human means showing up for each other, especially when we're struggling ourselves. In the end, he'd walked into St. Catherine's looking for a job. What he found was proof that we're all connected by invisible threads of grace, and that sometimes the life you save might just save yours in return.